So you're saying that Carisha is...
She's a predator no different than Nicki Minaj. She likes that. That turns her on.
Sean Diddy Combs is being sued yet again, twice in 1 week. This time, a young woman is accusing him of but she's also claiming that he got her pregnant and then her to get an abortion. And in this lawsuit, they also named Young Miami.
There's a her and JT. What don't y'all understand?
Yeah, to be on payroll.
How many ways do I have to say it? These is wild. They pay big to do damage and procure victims.
So Young Miami is working hard to cover her tracks, but she is failing big time. So the rapper recently broke down and revealed how did he hurt to be his P. Now, the fans believe the part about her being a for the music mogul Diddy, but the part about him, her, not so much. You see, Jaguar Art dropped the ball on Young Miami a long time ago. And according to her, Miami was getting paid $250,000 a month to procure victims for Diddy. And her role is finally coming to light since new lawsuit against Diddy directly mentions her and how she helped Diddy mistreat the victim. So just what did Young Miami say and what she really Diddy's victim? It's time to find out.
You couldn't wait for Cassie to run. You couldn't wait to be in Cassie's shoes. Carisha, please.
So Diddy's freak-off parties have made a major part of the indictment. And it turns out that one of the male workers who was supposedly hired for these parties was sitting on a videotape. According to sources close to the investigation, the male worker met with federal investigators following Diddy's arrest in New York City and handed over the tape. He signed an agreement that allows him to speak to federal investigators without fear of prosecution. Thanks to the agreement, the male SAR was supposedly able to delve into the details about the freak goss. He also provided information about the type of illegal substances did he use. As for how things went down according to the Mellis worker, he flew from Atlanta to Miami to meet up with Diddy and an unnamed woman in May last year. Now keep the date in mind because we're going to come back to it later. The male ass worker ended up having sex with the woman, while Diddy filmed the encounter kind of similar to the incidents that Cassie described in her lawsuit, right? But by some turn of events, the male ass worker was able to make a copy of that tape, which he turned over to the feds. Now, internet detectives have been focused on figuring out the identity of the woman participating in the freak-offs, and it looks like they might have found their woman. Remember how we asked you to take notes of the date? Well, on May 26, 2023, Young Miami jumped on X and posted a video of herself shopping with the caption, "You want to sponsor my #Activa? Thank you, Poppy." Well, fans think that Diddy was the one who took her shopping as a reward for her participating in the freak-off. And if you think that's a stretch, we'll look closely at her nails. Miami is wearing white nails. And if you remember Cass's lawsuit, she said that Diddy was into white nails. And according to the documents, Miss Venter was required to dress up in lingerie for info. And Mr. Combs insisted that she wear white nail polish to contrast her nails with the skin of the black men he hired to have sex with her. Miami posted another picture on her IG with the caption, "Bobby and Whitney." This time, she was hugging Diddy from behind while he snapped a selfie on the balcony, FYI. She was referencing Whitney Houston and Bobby Brown, who got married back in 1991. And their entire relationship was about infidelity, heavy use, allegations of mistreatment, and diminishing professional careers. The fact that Miami was comparing herself to Diddy to these two spoke volumes. It looks like she was trying to paint herself as Diddy's ride or die, despite the skeletons in his closet. And so it's safe to assume that Young Miami's real name, Carisha Ron Brown Lee, did participate in that freak-off. However, the real question is, was she victim like Cassie or a perpetrator? Well, it seems like she was just like Diddy. So then Diddy got hit with another lawsuit by a woman in New York. The victim chose to identify herself as Jane Doe and claimed that she was repeated immediately and at Diddy's home. However, what's interesting is that Carisha has been named dropped in the lawsuit. She was apparently part of the mistreatment, especially when Jane became pregnant. According to the court documents, Carisha Brownlee, defendant Coles' associate, mistreated Jane Doe by repeatedly calling her and telling Jane Doe to have an Aurora. Jane Doe suffered a mere scage and did not speak to defendant Combs or his team for approximately 3 months. The rest of the details are downright disturbing as well. Apparently in late 2022, Diddy got in touch with the victim again and continued the cycle of mistreatment. And according to the Documents at every visit defendant Combs would make her perform a show for him and would ply her with until she passed out. She would wake up withing. But with no recollection of how she sustained her injuries. This continued until July of 2024. In July of 2024, defendant Combs commanded Jane Doe to his home in Miami. When Jane Doe arrived at his Miami home, defendant Combs shoved 2 pills in Jane Doe's mouth. Now the women did choose to hide their identity, but the fans have a pretty good idea of who she is. They think it's Gina Hune. She famously dated the record executive and spoke up about how he mistreated her behind the scenes.
But he kept and I was like pleading to him, like, can you stop? I can't breathe. And he like stopped for a little bit. He like grabbed my hair from the back and like was like the back of my head, because he was just avoiding my face when he was like.
But more importantly, she was involved in a public feud with Young Miami over Diddy back in December 2022. She posted a story of herself saying the words "Dumby," which fans thought was a call out to Miami, since Diddy kind of walked all over her by having a kid with another woman. She even captioned the video when she beefing with you over an N-word. But the whole time he got somebody else pregnant, and City Girls Down 1000. Well, FYI, Miami was a part of the City Girls duo, an American hip-hop duo consisting of her and JT, so of course she got read up about the call-out. She jumped on X and tried to Regina for Phil, writing, "You want a baby B? I have a career. You a certified freak. You haven't heard from Diddy since the awards," reminiscing on Abo's let that her coach. She followed it up with another post writing, "Gina, you've been down bad ever since I came into the picture. You've been crying for a baby. For 10 years, you've been around as a bee that eat and D-word when he feel like it. You a eater. You're the same bee that was crying on Tasha K because you wanted a baby. Poor sushi." Gina then replied, "Carisha, you know you want to taste this. Yum yum sauce." That's when Miami responded with her viral tweet saying, "If I wanted you to eat my pee, Diddy would have had you on your knees. You eater bee, you munch." So if that was how Young Miami was treating Gina in front of everybody on the interwebs, God knows how she treated her behind closed doors. And that's why most folks think Miami was not a victim. In fact, according to some reports, Miami might have been Diddy's Jaguar. Wright said at first, according to her, Diddy was paying her $500,000 a month for her services, and Miami only cared about the money. Because when Diddy cut down her allowance to $250,000, she lost it.
No, but understand this. Think about this. And there are women in this room. Why would you quit? What is going on that 250,000 ain't enough?
Ladies?
Like the fact that he, I'm just saying, the fact that he cut from 500 to 200. Who the gives a shit? 200K? Who 250K? Who turning down 250K a month? What's going on in that relationship that 250K ain't enough?
Could see some things.
That ain't worth 250K. That's gotta be some dark. Like, people are not understanding that girl quit 250K.